Okay, going over question 1 here, let's have a little read. An investor is earning $15,000 this year, payable at the end of the year. This is essential, but expects to be earning $60,000 next year, payable at the end of the year, again essential. So what I've done here again, I've done a little timeline. I find this really helpful. So today we're here, period 1 is the end of the year, 15K. And then the end of, so we've obviously got 1 here and 2 here. The end of next year, we're getting 60K. Our rate is 10%, so interest equals 10%. And then question 1 is saying, what is the maximum amount that the investor can consume today if this interest rate is 10%? So question 1 is asking, what is the PV back here? So what we need to do is we need to bring 15 and the 60K forward back to today. So what we do is we've got 1 period here that we need to bring it back by. So all we need to do is divide by the interest rate. And then here we've got those 2 periods here. So we need to bring it back by 2 periods. Okay, so if we look at the question, the answers here, we can see the 15's been brought back by 1, so you don't really need to do that little to the power of 1. Just dividing it by 1.1 will give the same answer. And then we've got that 60,000 divided by 1.1 to the power of 2. That's accounting for those 2 periods. And that's our present value there, 63,000. Okay, so these questions here aren't specifically stating to calculate the present value, but you need to understand what the questions are asking. So it's asking, what can you consume today? So basically, what's the value of today to consume all this money? Okay, and then the next is doing it in the opposite. So today we're not consuming anything, but what can we consume at the end of next year? So that's the end of when we're getting that 60,000. So all it's asking is our future value. So the end of today, if we have a look at our thing, our future value, this $60,000 is in our future value money. So we don't need to do anything to that. But this 15,000 here, we do need to manipulate that. How many periods are we going back by? Just 1. So we need to increase our FV for here by 1 period. So if we look at the answers, that's what's happening here by the 10%. Plus 60,000 because that's in today's money, so we're getting at 76,500. So hopefully that little timeline helps you. Okay, so this is question number 2. I'm going to read it out. So you are offered an investment that will return you $7,000 in 3 years. So 3 years, $7,000. Now I'm very visual in these type of questions, so I find a timeline is very helpful for me to answer these questions. So what I've done is I have drawn this out. So as we walk through it, I'm going to write down, when we're having our payouts and what the dates are, because this is going to be very helpful when we need to calculate either the PV or the FV, future value. In an exam condition and you're doing the online exam, you could do this on your whiteboard to the side whilst you're answering it. It might really help you visualize and figure out what you have to do. Okay, so we have done the first part, and then the second part of the question, the first payment will incur 3 years today, so 3 years, $7,000. The second will occur at 6 years from today, so that's our 6-year period, and that's another $7,000. And then the last one will occur in year 7 here for $7,000, where interest rate is 9% here. Question 1 is asking us what is the PV, and question 2 is asking us what is the future value. So I'm not going to show you the minutiae of exactly calculating it, because if we look at the answers, it's all here for us. We know how to do that. What I'm going to show you is how we're getting these numbers here, and this is why drawing up the timeline is essential. Okay, so we want to first calculate the PV. So one part we need to do, what we need to figure out is what is the N. So our PVN here, we'll go PVN, present value, our little n we need to figure out. Okay, so let's just calculate it. Here, 3 is our n. Okay, here it's year 6, we've got to bring it back 6 years. Here and here, 7, that's going to be 7. Okay, 3, 6, 7. Have we got it right here? 3, 6, and 7. Okay, we input that and we'll get a PV of 13,408.40. So that one, it seems that everyone's getting fairly correct, so that's easy. The next part is future value. So what we want to do is figure out what is the value here. So year 7 equals today. So let's work backwards. We then need to figure out for these 3, what's our future value. So what we want to do is now calculate our FVN period. Okay, so today is that. Do we need to calculate anything to do with that? $7,000 is going to be what it's worth in today's value, so we don't need to do anything here. So this is our FV amount here. This is today's money here. Don't need to do that. Okay, FV, our little end period here. So we got to work backwards. So we need to bring this forward 1 year to bring it down here. So our FV end period is going to be 1. Okay, and then here, what's our FV end period going to be? We've got to work backwards. So we've got to bring it 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 periods. 4. So we've got FV 4 here. So let's check our question. There's our first payment of $7,000, bringing it down, bringing it forward by 4 periods. Then our second one, we're just dividing it. We don't put it to the power of anything because we're just bringing it back forward 1 year. And again, remember that $7,000 from the year 7, that's in today's currency because we're now looking at the future value. So we do that calculation and we get 24,511.07. Okay, so that is why this little visualization is extremely helpful because PV, we need to work downwards. FV, we need to work the other way, okay? So that's why I find it super, super helpful, and I've got little scribbles everywhere on envelopes over here and then scraps of paper. So that's why I find having a pen and paper and in an exam, your whiteboard is going to be very helpful.